So thank you everybody who was with us today. So my name is Husni Karouf. I'm the Associate Dean and the Graduate Studies here at Oxford Brookes University. I am really pleased and looking forward to this talk by Peter Moulds on networking and how to find different tips, networking with people, do it confidently. Is something that I'm passionate about. I'm not very good at. So I'm looking forward to get some tips in doing so because all of my experience always indicates networking and knowing how to link up with people is often more effective than any other technique. And Peter has lots of experience. He's the founder of Mastermind9, Networking In, and all the talks, all the feedback from his talks and previously has been absolutely brilliant. Students and staff found it very informative and engaging. So without any further ado, Peter, over to you. And we have the slideshow. I hope I presented you properly, Peter.
No, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Husni and Crystal. Thank you so much for asking me to be here today. I really do appreciate it. As a very new entrepreneur in residence at Oxford Brookes, it means an incredible amount to me. And as someone who studied entrepreneurship for an awful long time back at uni and been working with business owners for 20 years now, it means an awful lot to be asked to take up that privileged position. So anything that I can do to give back to you guys is clearly something that I'm going to do. I'm here today to talk to you about networking. I've been networking for the last 20 odd years, and I've got a whistle-stop tour of a 2-hour workshop that I've been doing at Oxford Brookes for the last couple of years. So let's dive straight into it. If you go to any successful person at any point in history and ask them to what extent networking has played a pivotal role in their success, they will tell you it's been instrumental in helping them make their dreams a reality. There's one example with Richard Branson, but you've got the titans of industry all talking about the fact that networking plays an incredibly powerful part in their growth, their success as human beings. There was a recent survey that said that 80% of jobs are now found without being advertised anywhere, just through personal relationships and networking. So I'm here today, guys, to tell you that the jobs in your future will most likely come, or could most likely come, from the relationships that you're building now with the people on your courses. So why should you listen to me? Well, first and foremost, hi, my name's Pete Moulds. As Husni said, I'm very recent entrepreneur in residence at Oxford Brookes Uni. I run a number of businesses, Outside Ideas, Mastermind9, and Hire Abroad. At the last count, I had 14,500 followers on LinkedIn, and I've been very active on LinkedIn as a social media platform for the last 15 or 16 years. I would encourage you all to take that platform and run with it. But I suppose more importantly than that, I'm a loving husband to my wife Sarah. She's actually my life partner and my business partner. I'm a proud dad to my little boy Max. And I suppose two other things that you should know about me. I read a lot of business and personal development books. I think that personal development has been fundamental in helping me achieve the things that I've achieved in my career to date. And lastly, the reason that I am able to talk to you about how to network like a pro or into the job you want is I was the networker of the year for the UK in 2022. So I really do know what I'm talking about when it comes to networking. I talked a minute ago about the fact that I've read a lot of books. Elon Musk was asked once upon a time, how did he learn to build rockets? And his answer was, I read books. And I've read some incredible books that have formed the basis of this presentation, to be honest with you. And we're going to talk about those as we go through this presentation. But needless to say, all of the tips, with the exception of one, have come unashamedly from other people who are further along in their journey than I am. So let's get into it. Here are 7 tips to help you to network like a pro or into the job that you want to get in the future. So the first tip that I've got for you guys is that you really must have a goal for the networking that you want to do, but also I think you must have goals for life. You know, Stephen Covey's third law was start with the end in mind. Set goals for the things that you want to achieve, whether that be in networking or whether that be in your career or your relationships or whatever else it is. But when I talk about having a goal from a networking perspective, you will find that there are many different ways and places that you can go to network. And I suppose the biggest piece of advice I can give you is turn up authentically as yourself and look to collect people. The more people that you can collect and add to your little black book of people that might one day be useful for you or someone you know, that will serve you in incredibly good stead. So I would say that the goal that I would have for yourself is absolutely to just collect good people along the way. You know, make it a hobby to collect people. The second tip that I'm going to give you is about really perfecting your pitch, about perfecting the way that you communicate with people for the first time that you meet them. There's a very famous kind of networking analogy whereby you should have an elevator pitch prepared. They say, you know, if you were standing in an elevator and you had 30 seconds and your dream customer or your dream mentor or someone was in that elevator and you had 30 seconds to engage this person and make them know a little bit about you, like you, and trust you, what would you say? And I think that there are some really important things to think about here. Don't leave it to chance. Perfect planning will prevent pathetic performance. And I would encourage you all to be thinking about what that goal is that you want to achieve. You know, is it that you want to go and work for Virgin one day? Is it that you want to work for an F1 team? Is it that you want to be a lecturer somewhere? You know, whatever it is, what's the goal? What do you want? And then perfect the way that you're going to let people know that that's what you want to achieve. Now, in Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand, it's an absolutely brilliant book on how businesses can create messaging that sounds a little bit like how it sounds in the movies. Brilliant book. But in that book, he talks about the his methodology for perfecting a pitch. And he always says that you should never just go straight into what you do. You should always start with a little bit of an insight into the background as to why you do it. And he calls that the hook. So rather than me going, I'm a business coach and I do this, that, or the other, he would encourage me to say something like, it's a travesty that 80% of small businesses fail within 5 years. And what it is it's a pattern interrupt, and he would encourage you to create that pattern interrupt in your mind or in their mind before you then move on to I help small business owners to grow by making sure that they do planning and so on and so forth. My name's Pete Moles. So that tip I think is really important for whatever it is, whatever the job is that you're going to do. Start thinking about how, when you meet people that might be able to open a door for you, start by telling a story, start by giving a little bit of a hook. I am going to canter through these slides, by the way, because I've got lots to cover in not very much time. There's a phenomenal book by a gentleman called Daniel Priestley called Oversubscribed. The best bit about this book is 7-11-4. What Daniel Priestley says is for anyone to really do business with you or take you for a take you in for a job opportunity. And to be honest, it's more about doing business with you than job opportunities. I'm trying to put a tenuous link in here to make it work. But the fact remains the 7-11-4 principle is really golden. And I want you to think about the people that you know right now. If we think about collecting those people, that black book of people, he says that for people to do business with you, they need to consume 7 hours of your content. 7 hours of your content might be you have 7 hours of chats. It might be that they read your book. It might be that they stumble across your website and read it for 7 hours. It might be a number of different ways that they can consume 7 hours of your content. If you think about the people that you're at uni with right now, most of the people on your course, you're going to spend way more than 7 hours of time with. They're consuming you for more than 7 hours. The next thing he says is that it's not enough to have just 7 hours. That 7 hours needs to be spaced out. They need to build the trust over time. So he talks about 11 separate interactions. And again, in your uni analogy, those people that you're collecting in your little black book, you're going to be in, various different various different classrooms together with them over a period of time. You will all have those interactions. The most important thing that Daniel Priestley says is 4 separate locations. Now, I want you to see uni as one location, right? The different classrooms don't really count as different locations because it's the same thing from a contextual relevance perspective. You are much more likely to have a really solid person in your black book if, on top of going to the lectures with that person, you've also spent time with them at the cafe. You've also spent time with them at the library. You've also spent time with them at the bar. And if you spend time with people in different social settings, you are much more likely to be able to call on that person in your black book in the future. So whilst you're thinking about, where you're going, please just try and remember to be meeting these people in different locations. So that's tip 3, 7-11-4. Tip 4, understand, know, like, trust. You've heard me say it already today. Now, this one comes from my friend, Bob Berg. So he's written a book called The Go-Giver. He wasn't my friend before he wrote the book, but I have used the tips that I'm sharing with you today, including the strategy that I'm going to share with you at the end, to make him my friend. Multi-million selling author, knows me, likes me, trusts me, has turned up and delivered content for my tribe. And he talks about know, like, and trust. So that is absolutely fundamental if you're looking to get people to ever high for a job, right? They must first know you. Until they know you, nothing happens. Then they need to like you. They need to think that you're a decent human being. And finally, they need to trust that you can do what you're going to do for them to do business with you or to take you on as an employee. So how do you do that? I like to, well, this is my only original, not my only original IP, my only IP in this particular talk, and it's the GER method for getting people to know who you are. And I promise you, this works incredibly well. It's how I got Michael Lennington, it's how I got Hal Elrod, it's how I got Bob Berg, and it's how I continue to get authors that, really I shouldn't be able to get to come and talk to my tribe, So what does the GER method involve? Well, it starts on LinkedIn, and I've talked about it already. I would highly encourage you to start building out your networks on LinkedIn. But in the name of being strategic, you need to have a goal. You then need to do some research. Then you need to find some stuff that you can relate to before you reveal yourself to them, and then finally reach out to them. And then if it doesn't work, repeat. So I'm going to go into this in a little bit more detail so you understand what I'm talking about. We talked about the goal at the beginning, right? Let's just say that you want to become an accountant. I don't know who's on the call. But let's just say that you want to become an accountant. The goal, I would suggest, if I was a student that was thinking about becoming an accountant, would be I want to finish uni and I want to go and work for the best accountant that I can and make some good money with decent training prospects and all of the rest of it. And I want to really become successful in my career. And then I might go, okay, so where do I live? Where do I want to live? And all of a sudden, that helps me define what the goal is. Okay, I don't just want to work for any accountancy practice. I want to work for an accountancy practice in London, for example, or in Oxford or wherever it is. And you might decide that in Oxford, Monaghan's might be a good option, for example, just to name one. And therefore, the goal is before you finish uni, before you're ready to take that step and start applying for jobs, is to become known by the people at Monaghan's. That's the goal. So then you need to research. So who are at Monaghan's? Where are they based? Who's the owner? Who's the managing director? Who's the head of HR? Who's the whatever, whatever it is? Who are the people that are at the kind of junior levels that you're going to be going in at? So research, 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 research. Go deep on that company. You need to find some stuff that you can relate to with these people. So you can find Monaghan's on LinkedIn. You can find out really easily who the owner is and who the managing director is. You need to find out which ones that you can relate to. Is it possible that someone there went to Brooks? Is it possible that that person was taught by the same person that's teaching you? There's some stuff that you can relate to, right? It's so important that you get that step. What can you relate? And it might be that they've just posted a picture of Thailand and you'd love to go to Thailand. There's all sorts of things that you can find that is relatable. After you found that relatable stuff, you then need to reveal yourself to them. Not in a pervy way, but what I want you to do is go deep on their profile. So start looking at the posts that they've done, and where there's stuff that is interesting to you, drop them a like or a love or an insightful. Give them a comment. And what I would tell you about the way that we all are wired as human beings is we love that shit. We love it when someone that we don't know starts commenting on our posts. So I would encourage you to go deep on their profile and over the course of a week or 2 weeks, comment, comment. The experts will tell you, look, like, comment, share, connect. I will tell you that if you really want to be known, do it over a longer period of time, but go deeper and make more comments. And then once you've dropped enough comments and they've started to say, oh, Pete, thanks very much for that, or great comment, really insightful, they know me. At that point, they know me. I've gone from someone that was unknown to them to someone that knows who I am. And at that point, when I drop a connect, because I'm going to reach out to them and say, I saw you went to Thailand. I'd really love to go to Thailand. Oh, by the way, I'm studying accountancy too. Can we connect? I'd love to follow your journey. They're going to connect. Of course, not everyone will connect, and therefore you need to sometimes repeat the process. But that is, I think, absolute gold for helping you find jobs of the future, and I hope that resonates with some of you. So we now know how to get known by someone. Now we want to be liked, right? It's important to be liked. If you want to get a job, they need to like you. If they think you're a douchebag, they probably won't give you a job. So, one of the most important books ever written on human behavior. I studied entrepreneurship at uni. I wrote my dissertation on the characteristics of entrepreneurs. And what I would say is that this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, came up more in my studies on entrepreneurship than any other book. So it's a book that I would highly encourage you to read But he talks about the 6 ways to make people like you. And he says, smile. If I smile at you, you're likely to smile back. Be a good listener. We've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should use them in that proportion. Be genuinely interested in the other person. Genuinely interested. The N is use their name. It's the sweetest word in your vocabulary. In your vocabulary, it is the most powerful word that you can use. So remember their name and use it regularly. Talk in terms of the other person's interests and make them feel important. That is absolute gold from Dale Carnegie. So smile, listen, talk in terms of their interests, use their name, be interested, and make them feel important. Trust. The trust equation comes from Ken Blanchard. Again, another really great little book, small book on how to build trust. And he talks about trust. To get trust, you need to be credible, you need to be reliable, and you need to make them feel good. So the I is intimacy. And you add up how credible you are, so how competent, how capable, how much stuff do you know, how long have you had in the game, all of those sorts of things. They give us confidence that you're a credible human being. How reliable are you? Do you do what you say you're going to do? And then the intimacy thing is, how do you make people feel? Do you use some of those things that make people like you, the smiling and using their names? How socially aware are you? So credibility, reliability, and intimacy. And then you add all of those up, you give each one of those a score, and then you divide it by your self-interest. We can all smell self-interest a mile away. So my encouragement to you is, whilst you might have goals, keep them a little bit hidden. Keep them a little bit hidden. Don't go there. Anyway, there we go. Credibility, reliability, intimacy, divided by self-interest. I'm running out of time. This guy, Hal Elrod, is another multi-million selling author. He wrote one of my game changer book called The Miracle Morning. I did this exact stuff that I'm talking to you about with how I reached out to him, and I managed to get him to do a $48,000 keynote speech for free because I got him to know me, I got him to like me, I got him to trust me. We built loads of rapport, and he decided that he wanted to help me. So if I can do it, you can do it. Research the regulars or their colleagues. So again, when we go back to the Monaghan's example, I would encourage you to figure out what the org structure looks like, and who are the people that you're going to need to connect with. Really, really important when you're networking is to look to give, to help other people, to be a person that can introduce, that is known as someone that will help before looking to be helped. So that's just I think a good tip for life, but it's absolutely, when I'm doing this with a business head, you need to make sure that you're looking to help people before you're expecting to get anything. And then final tip from this section is the fortune is in the follow-up. So it goes without saying that you'll have lots of conversations and lots of meetings. If you want to take that relationship to the next level, remember 7-11-4. It's not enough to just have that chance meeting, connect on LinkedIn. You need to send an email, maybe follow up with a phone call, connect on LinkedIn for sure, but just continue to build out that relationship. So there we go. In summary, have a goal, perfect your pitch. Remember 7-11-4 because that is golden. Understand, know, like, trust. Research regulars, give before you expect to receive, and then the fortunes in the follow-up. Now, Husni, I've actually got some homework for these guys and a strategy, and I'm not sure whether it's probably going to take me another 10 minutes to deliver this stuff. Shall I continue on? I know you said kind of half an hour.
I am really interested to see this homework. Please do.
Okay, fine, perfect. So I'll carry on. So Guys, I'm very confident in this strategy and it helping you find a better job than you might otherwise get if you follow this stuff. So, the first and most important thing to do for everyone is figure out what's important to us. What are our internal value set? What are our value system? Now, if you don't know how to do that, if you type into Google, how do I figure out what my values are as a human being? It will give you a list of 200 words, and I just encourage you to go through and circle the ones that are important to you. Now, depending on what your personality type is, will completely depend on whether fun makes it onto that list of important values, or integrity does, or precision does. And, we're all very different, but that is the place, if you want to be truly happy in your career, that you must start. So figure out the 5 words that make you you. Okay, that's the first thing that you need to do. Then I would encourage you to go to ChatGPT or your favorite AI and go, I really want to be doing accountancy after I've graduated. My values are precision, fun, whatever else that you put in there. Give me the best companies in the UK that match my value set. This is golden because it will avoid you working for dickheads. The values of the business are always determined by the business owner. And it's why some people love their job and some people hate their job. And I would really encourage you to merge those things and try and find a company that matches your values, because it will be much more fun for you, much more rewarding. You're likely to do more. And then you must work on your LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to give you a very high level what you must do. So this is my LinkedIn profile from last year. It's changed a little bit since then. But there are a few things that you need to do. Create an eye-catching banner, create a compelling headline, and create a great recent photo of you. It's no good. It's unlikely that you guys are going to be putting up a photo from 5 years ago, because you'd have been 16 and that's not relevant. However, as we get older, we look different. And if you're showing up with a LinkedIn profile where people have to go, is it, is it, is it, is it? That's not a good thing. Make sure your photo is absolutely up to date and relevant. And then the last thing to do is create a well-written, values-packed about section. So going back to the values piece that we talked about, make sure that those values words make it into your about section. Okay, really, really important stuff. And then here's what I want you to do. Do the homework. So you must do that before you do anything else. Do that homework, understand the values, ask ChatGPT which companies are going to be most like you. And what ChatGPT will do is it will go, oh, accountants, let's look at the values. And all of a sudden it will read through all of the different websites and it will find the ones that mention the values that you're in. And then it will feed you 5 different companies that match the values. And they're the ones I would target if I was you. Do that homework, but not until you've done the LinkedIn stuff. Do the LinkedIn homework. There we go. I want you to then start creating a couple of pieces of content that really display you and your values, are really heavy on those values keywords, and you make those featured posts. So, maybe let's talk to the accountancy piece again. Maybe it's, I did this really cool management accountancy stuff on work experience or something, or these are some companies that I really admire at a couple of really, really prominent featured posts. Identify the people in your target company who have got the job that you want and are more senior. So if there's an apprentice, or probably not an apprentice, but maybe a kind of management trainee or something like that, or a junior accountant, I would look at them and I would look at the people that are more senior, maybe the founder. And the thing is, we're going to go deep on their profiles. So then I say ring their bell. Now you probably don't know what ring their bell is, so I'm going to tell you. That's the bell. With every LinkedIn profile, there is a little bell that you can use that will notify you if you ring that bell when they post something. You will be notified that they've posted something. This is a massive cheat, right? Because now all of a sudden you don't have to go to their profile every day. You just get notified when they post something. So I rang the bell for Bob Berg, and every time he posted something, there was a notification. I went, "This is amazing, Bob. I totally resonate with your values," and blah 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 blah. And we made friends. And this is how it works. And what I want you to do when I talk about blowing smoke in their bum, actually, in the longer talk that I do, but it's really important to make people feel important. It's one of those six things, right? Make them feel important. So be blowing smoke in their ass, make them feel good. Um, and then once you've done that enough, reach out with the follow message. I've been following you for a while now. I'm absolutely in love with Monaghan's and what it stands for. You must love your job so much. I saw you recently did this awesome thing. I'd love to connect and follow your inspiring journey. I mean, they're my words. I'm really fluffy. They might not be your words. It's unlikely that you'd use that for an accountancy practice, but make it yours. But the point is the same. Blow smoke in their ass, make them feel important, tell them that you admire what they're doing and that you'd like to connect. That's it. The goal is the connection, because once you're connected, you can communicate in the same way as if you had their email address. So do that. You then need to continue to look, like, comment, share on their stuff. Just be interested in their stuff, right? And then sporadically start writing posts that are talking to the values that that company has got that you really resonate with. When you see something that they've done in the press or in the news or something, just write a post about it and then tag in those people that you're now connected with. The founder will really appreciate it that someone is talking so nicely about their company. I promise you. The people that are doing the job are going to feel like they will be impressed. I promise you they will be impressed. So do it. And then once you've done that, reach out with the following message. Ah, jeepers! I didn't include the following message, which is a massive oversight. Husni, I'll send you that message so you can get it out. But essentially, it's a I've been following you. I'm really interested in what you do. I'm coming to the end of my degree, or I'm partway through, or I'm looking to find some really high value work experience where I can demonstrate my value in the marketplace. And I would love you to consider me. I understand there's probably no openings available, but I'd really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about how you got the job, or whether there might be opportunities available, or whatever it is. Just proactively reach out once they know you, they like you, and they trust you. Reach out with that message and watch. Well, they won't ignore you. My bet is they won't ignore you because you've done it strategically. I'm going backwards. Uh, So that was for the one employee, but obviously you've been not just looking at one person, you've been looking at the founder, you've been looking at the HR director, you've been looking at the head accountant, you've been looking at people, and you just do it with each of them. So it's not one person that knows you, likes you, trusts you, it's five. And all of a sudden, you become the candidate in the room. In the pile of CVs, you become the one that they already know, like, and trust. And that puts you miles ahead of your competition. That was me. I went 7 minutes over. I'm so sorry. Um, but I hope you found it useful. There's my QR code. If any of you do want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm a slut on LinkedIn, and I collect people because you never know how how these relationships will play out in the future. So I'd be delighted to connect with all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Peter. Like really, really appreciate it. And I'm glad that we looked at your homework because I picked a couple of tips on that. It's brilliant. So I'm just going to encourage everybody, please post your questions, comments, either in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'm sure Peter will be more than happy to answer them.
Pleasure.
Peter, can I ask your opinion on something? And this is
Yes,
something
please.
I'm very intrigued by while people posting their comments. From your point of view, networking, yes, is valuable, it's important, but can you find the difference between networking and self-promoting on LinkedIn? Is there a difference? Is there a fine line, or are they
Yeah.
are they the same? What is your
No,
take?
no. I mean, self-promotion. I was having this conversation with a startup business owner this morning. Self-promotion to me feels an awful like walking into a bar and going, "Hey, my name's Pete. Buy my shit." That's what self-promotion is. Networking is me coming to you and going, "Hey, Husni, I really loved that post that I saw you make the other day about this topic. It's clear you're great at what you do. I'd love to follow you." One creates real connection, and one displays a great level of self-interest. Both have their place. Don't get me wrong. I have a small business. I am proactively always looking for customers. I will post multiple times a week, three, four, 5 times a week, depending on what's going on. I get lots of engagement on those posts because I use it as social media, meaning for every one person that comments on a post of mine, typically I've commented on 3 or 4 other people's. The algorithm on LinkedIn works in a way that if you just show up and you post something and then you go, it's not going to show it to anyone. Whereas if I show up, I post something, and before I leave, I go and look at Crystal's profile and I comment on something on Crystal's profile, and I come to your profile and I look at yours, Husni. What will happen is it will go, "Oh, there's a connection there. I'm going to show this to Crystal. I'm going to show this to Husni." And because I've put some coins, and the other thing that I usually do is have coins, little chocolate coins that I throw out into the audience to get them to engage with me. But essentially, it's like me putting some coins in your emotional bank account. Every time that I comment on something that you're doing or send you a message that's heartfelt, you're going to go, "Ah, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy." And at some point, there'll be enough coins in your bank account that make you go, "He's a nice guy." So I don't think it's enough to just show up and promote yourself. You have to, it's a balance.
Thank you. That is really important, especially now. You can see it on LinkedIn. People just say, "I am proud," and it's all about them, them, them. But as you mentioned, there's another side of the coin, which is very is connecting with others. Um, one more question that really stuck with me, Peter, about the use of name, and sometimes I see it in few people, not many, just few, when people overuse the name when they're trying to talk to me.
Okay.
And what are your tips? What are kind of the best practice that you've know yet that you've seen, and what are kind of the no in overusing names in conversation, because it is
I,
important.
I think that's really fascinating because I understand why that winds you up. Uh, Because I would suggest that what that makes you feel is that they're trying too hard. And therefore, what that's doing is going ding, 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 self-interest, self-interest. So, It's a really brilliant question, well made. And I guess the answer is use it, but don't overuse it.
And you're gonna find your way. You're gonna do some mistakes. Just find your way. Okay.
I mean,
Um,
so this is very much one of those things where I ashamedly will say, do as I say, not as I do, because I am forever in the my loves, my friends, mates, like, because I'm phenomenal with faces. I remember faces brilliantly. Names, even though I'm telling you, do it, I'm I'm not going to say I'm bad at it because I don't want to kind of reinforce the fact that I'm bad at it. But I have struggled in the past with people's names. So uh, I there's a balance. Great question. There's a balance. Use it once or twice. Don't overuse it.
thank you.
I think it's more important actually to remember it
Yeah,
because when you know that I know your name, you know that I'm interested in you. You know that if I, we have a conversation and the next time we meet, I say, Husni, lovely to see you. You might have forgotten my name, but I'm pretty much certain that you'll try really hard to remember it if I've remembered you and I've remembered your name.
absolutely. And for me personally, that would work for me. Well, so we have a question about, can you share some examples of successful networking that happened entirely offline? I think this is a very good question, kind of away from LinkedIn. And any tips on that, if possible, Peter?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the front half of this presentation is much more about those kind of networking in real life situations. I think the really important message to get across here is networking is a marathon, not a sprint. But this, me doing this right now, is a really good example of how networking works. So 8 years ago, maybe even 9 years ago, I met a lady called Dr. Karen Cripps at a Thames Valley Chamber of Commerce event down in, I want to say it was Winchester. And at the time, she was working for Winchester Uni and she'd brought a bunch of students to this networking event to meet with business people. She's in business, she was teaching business students and she brought them. And I engaged with them and I was polite and encouraging and hopefully motivating. And we built a little bit of rapport, nothing more than a little bit of rapport. She probably left going, oh, he was a nice guy, being nice to my students. And nothing happened except for the fact that she probably got my business card. Fast forward 7 years, I'd won Networker of the Year, and Karen pops up on my LinkedIn feed, been watching me for the last 7 years. And she said, hey, Pete, I now find myself teaching the master's students in management at Brooks. I was like, congratulations. She was like, part of it is on leadership development, and I thought that it would be brilliant to include a section on networking, and I can't think of anyone better than the networker of the year to deliver that to my students. Would you be interested? That is that is one of 1,000 examples of how this stuff works. It was never me going into that interaction with Karen going, I wonder what I can get here. It was I'm going to turn up, I'm going to be nice, I'm going to be respectful, and who knows what happens one day down the line. It's about building your black book full of people that maybe one day might need some of what you've got.
Yeah, we're and I get very lucky from what I've seen. It's amazing example. Thank you very much for this. Um, while waiting for more questions,
Can I give you another example,
oh,
actually?
please do. Yes,
Let me
absolutely.
give you another example. I delivered this. It wasn't this this workshop. It was one called um, Success Habits for Humans. I delivered to a it's called the Career Springboard. So it's people that are out of work, looking for work. And I agreed to, it's a charity, and I agreed to go and deliver this workshop to them for free. And in the audience, there was a guy called Ben who was a degree student. He might have actually been from Brooks. Weirdly, do you do computer sciences at Brooks? I think he was
I'm
a
going to say
student.
yes.
I think he was a student at Brooks. Now this is they're based down in I don't know, Gerrard's Cross or somewhere like that, this charity, but it's a nationwide thing. Anyway, one of the facilitators was asking for wins, and Ben popped up, and he said that he'd just graduated with a first from Brooks in computer sciences, and that he was looking for opportunities. And I went, ding, 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 ding. One of my clients is a software developer. And I went, Ben, contact me afterwards because one of my clients is a software developer. Maybe he might be interested in taking you on and doing some work experience or something. That work experience turned into a paid job. And that came as a result of him expressing what he was doing, what his goals were in an audience of people, and one of those people went ding 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 ding. Let me make a connection because I'm looking to give, not to get. So I think that's a lovely, lovely example for your students.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Peter, for this. We have another question about what's your view on directly visiting companies to either build a networking or simply to put your name out there?
Do it. So I'm a salesman, right? First and foremost, I'm a salesman, and there is an analogy that I use with my sales team. So I've got two people who are on the phones for me every day, speaking to business owners. And the motto that I live with is some will, some won't, so what, move on. The more no's you go for, the more likely you are of getting a yes. And if there is someone out there, if there is a company out there that absolutely sings to your values, you must do that work first. Go and knock on their door again and again and again. And I promise you, the more times you knock, the more they'll know you, the more they'll like you, the more they'll trust you, the more they'll give you an opportunity. So I would 100% encourage you to do it by hook or by crook. Just do it. If you really want to get ahead in life, fortune favors the brave.
Thank you. And people are saying yes, that is if you find a company that you like them, just focus on them. That's really great.
It's so important, right? Because so many people hate what they do, right? So many people are deeply dissatisfied, and you've got presenteeism and absenteeism, and they're not delivering. And then because they're not delivering, they get upset that they're not delivering, and then they're worried about redundancies or being fired. Just find a company that actually matches, that lights you up because they're out there. Find the company that really aligns, and it will feel much less like work.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Changing slightly the question, Peter. I really like that you are using AI, and I really like the prompt, and I'm going to try it when I get
Do
a
it.
chance. I'm gonna try it. Now, often we get questions about AI and AI generated messages. Some of them is okay, a lot of it's not as okay. What are your views apart from the really good practical example that you gave us on how AI is going to change how we network and how we should and shouldn't use it?
Okay, so here's a really golden tip for all of you. Don't use it for your covering letters because the last job that I advertised, we got 850 applicants. It's an operations manager role, and we got 850 applicants. And our recruitment process is long, and people have to jump through a lot of hoops. And one of those hoops is you need to submit a video, but you also need to submit a covering letter. And if I tell you that of the 260 people that submitted videos, covering letters, and CVs from the 850 that applied, they had to read a 7-page job description and then apply CV, covering letter, and and a video. Probably, probably 80 to 90% of them, it was clear that they were using AI, because what happens is you just get fed the same covering letter written in a slightly different way, because AI is just kind of, it's making it all a little bit too homogenous, guys. It's giving you the what the algorithm thinks is the next best word here and what the structure should be. And my encouragement to you would be, maybe use it to get a structure, but if you use it and just change words, it will still sound like AI, and you will automatically, I think I discriminated against people who were using AI, because it's like, I don't care that you're using AI, no problem. Everyone's using AI. I'm using AI. But if I'm going to use AI, I'm going to make sure it sounds exactly like me. And the it's so easy to tell poorly constructed AI content, which is good in a lot of ways. It's kind of feeding us what we think we should hear. And I do see AI generated content from people that I follow. And even though I know it's AI, I know it's kind of in their tone, and it's the prompts come from them and they're trying to help. And I will read it. But if I can tell it's AI, I take it less, I take them less seriously. So just be careful.
Thank you. And by the way, I do the exact same thing, and I don't mind, but I take it less seriously if people do this. I'm conscious of the time, so one final quick question. So imagine we have, I don't know, 15 people, 16 people on the call. We're all going for the same job, all the same values, or the same place. What is kind of your top tip so I can differentiate myself from Crystal or from you? Trying to stand out a little bit from the crowd. We'll all listen to your conversation, all following your tips. Any additional ones? So that
Yeah,
final step.
the first thing to say is I think it's highly unlikely that all 15 people are going to be going for the same job, because we are all uniquely human, with uniquely human values, with uniquely human traits, and we want different things. So I think maybe you're up against one or two potentially, but you're definitely not going to be up against 15. And I promise you, if you do what I've encouraged you to do, you'll be at the top of the list when it comes to the CVs that they're considering, because I just think that, you know, you will be ahead of the game. Personally, I can't look past the need for authenticity. I think you need, in an age of AI, it's really important to show up as you are. Don't try and fake it. Don't try and be someone that you're not, because you'll be found out, and you'll get a job and then they'll realize that you're not what you said you were, and you won't last in the job. It's much better to really assess. There's another thing that I encourage everyone to do, actually, in the longer workshop. Um, I'm sure, Hasna, you're familiar with Ikigai, the the Japanese methodology for figuring out what you should be doing with your life. For those of you that are listening but aren't aware of Ikigai, in a nutshell, it's an exercise that you can do that helps you figure out what your life's purpose is. And you essentially make four lists: a list of the things that you love, a list of the things that you're good at, a list of the things that the world needs, and a list of the things that you can be paid for. And if they're all concentric circles, the overlap of all four of those circles is where you should be 100% focusing your time, energy, effort to move towards a company that's going to fulfill you for the rest of your life.
Thank you so much, Peter, for this. And I'm for one, I don't want this chat to finish because
Thank you.
I'm taking notes of the things I'm going to do. I'm going to apply and lots of tips. And definitely I'm going to ring people's bells, which I didn't know about. So many practical tips. Really, really appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody who is in the call, for your questions, for your engagement. And Peter, I'm pretty sure we would love to host you again. It's been absolutely amazing talk. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely day, and we'll see you in the uh, uh, next talk of the series. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Thank you, Peter, again. Bye.